Hi everybody, it's Attorney Goff live from my kitchen. So tonight we're making a lemon cake. Brian O'Neill is our winner of the KitchenAid mixer. So Brian, I know you've been in touch with my office. Come pick up your mixer. It is yours, courtesy of Goff Law Group, and thank you for sending in the recipe. This recipe is weird, which I like. Breadcrumbs and lemon cake usually don't go together, but I gotta tell you, so I have a finished product, which you might not be able to see, and if it's okay, you can't. I'll show you at the end. And I think I don't really make these types of cakes, but it makes sense now as to how these people get it to be hard around the outside. It's from the breadcrumbs. So we're gonna talk about that. I think everybody should try to make this. It smells delicious, but it smells kind of gross when you're starting to make it. So I just gotta warn you. I came in the kitchen, I'm like, what happened and what stinks? And that's what it is. But it turns out to smell really amazing. I'm gonna talk, last week our live stream went back down. So we're gonna be told today if our live stream is interrupted, right? Midstream, we're good so far. If we're having an issue, obviously we'll address it at that point. But I'm going to talk about this topic from last week because you guys didn't get to ask me questions, and it's so important. It's about insurance coverage, what you need to know, what you need to have, conversion coverage, all the good little tidbits that you can't really find when you go on Google or most attorneys' websites because they don't care enough to try to teach you about it. So, sip. So I am going to drink water tonight. I just have not been in the mood to drink. However, I'm going to make some recommendations for you guys. Lindeman's Framboise Raspberry Lambic. This is one of my favorites. So good at Christmas time. But for you people that are out there that watch sugar and carbs and calories, this is not your beer, but it's delicious. I'm telling you, you could drink a whole bottle by yourself. Alcohol content doesn't really say.
It's low.
Is it? Oh, so you can drink a lot of it, but it's really caloric. But I'm telling you, it's delicious. So it's great. You could drink the bottle, probably not get like hammered, and it's delicious. But as I always say, don't drink and drive. So if you're going to have some of this, be in for the night. But I'm telling you, you can get this at any liquor store. It's like, I don't know, 16, 17 bucks a bottle. It's one of my favorites. Okay, I know it's more expensive than a can of beer, but it's totally luxurious. You drink it and you feel like it's like you're drinking like fruit punch, but it's got like a raspberry flair and it's just delicious. So try this. Okay. So you can tell I'm not drinking it, right, because the little cap on. So tonight we're going to make lemon cake. So we're going to start. So again, first the weirdest thing, you're going to take a bundt pan. You're going to take butter. You're going to take butter and scrape all the butter around. But then guess what? You have to like line it with breadcrumbs. I'm telling you, it does not. It's original breadcrumbs. Guys, it does not smell great. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend it does. It does not. However, the result is kind of great. So, I mean, that's really what we all need to care about and worry about, right? So let's get at it. So you're going to, as I said, you're going to take the butter, and I've already did this, is already pre-done, and then you're going to line it with the breadcrumbs. You're going to preheat the oven to 325. Then we're going to sift together. So we all know what sifting means, right, guys? I've done it already. Sifting, you can do this. I've done this all kinds of getaways, right? I've done it with with like one of the really, really thin colanders, and you hit the side of it and you just sift everything together. So you put it all together. It kind of fluffs everything together and it gives it different consistency. Sifting is important. If a recipe says sift, you need to sift, okay? You're going to sift together your flour, baking powder, and salt, and you're going to set it aside. So again, if you don't have an actual sifter, the thing with the hand pump, right, where you just keep sift, 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 you're going to take a little colander and you're going to just tap the side of it, all right? Recommend you do it over a big bowl. Give yourself lots of room because it gets super messy and it gets super fine, so it's hard to clean. Now, my favorite part, we're going to cream together butter, right? So we're going to take half a pound of butter. Doesn't seem like nearly enough, but that's okay. And then we're going to take our sugar, and we're going to cream the two together. Sugar's 2 cups of sugar. You guys know this is my favorite thing to do. So, of course, I can't let anybody do this for me. Why would I do that? So we are going to cream these guys together. And just give it some time, let it kind of hang out. So let's talk a little bit about insurance coverage. So we talked last week, well, I talked last week. You guys weren't around because unfortunately the live went down. We've talked about what kind of coverages I recommend you have, but everybody's so worried about protecting everybody else, liability coverage. What about you? You're so worried about making sure you have enough coverage in case you hit somebody and cause them cause them harm. Like, oh, what if I break their leg? I need to have enough coverage, but then you don't really care about, well, what if somebody hits you, hurts you, and you don't have enough coverage? And they don't have enough coverage for you. What are you going to do for you? That's called underinsured and uninsured motorist coverage. I have many cases come into my office where the policy limits for the other side of the state minimum $25,000, okay, per person, 50 per accident. And they come in my office, they're like, and I tell them, look, ma'am, the state minimum is $25.50, and that's what they have. You only have $25.50, so that means that all I can get you is $25. And they're yelling at me saying this isn't right. I want to go after their house. I want to go after their car. And I'm like, ma'am, all a judge is going to say to me when I talk to him about this is your client had the opportunity to get more insurance too. And they didn't, right? So, you know, guys, you gotta be mindful. I mean, the law's not perfect at all. There's actually very little about the law that is perfect. However, you know, you got to make sure that if you have the opportunity to protect yourself, you do. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is that down the road, you're really going to need the coverage. You're not going to have it because you were so worried about covering everybody else. And you're going to be the one that's like holding the bag, and then the judge isn't going to want to help you. So how can you avoid that from happening? Well, sorry guys, it's going to take a bit to cream. Just my temp of my butter's a little off. Just give it a minute. So what you do is you increase your underinsured, uninsured motorist coverage. So if somebody hits you without enough insurance or with no insurance at all, your coverage actually comes in and replaces coverage. It steps in the shoes of the tortfeasor and basically gives you additional coverage. So what's all that mean? If the person has $25,000, you watched my video and you called the insurance company and said, I want 100 for your underinsured motorist. That means you'd be able to get an extra 75 from your carrier. That's a lot of money, guys. And for the amount of money you pay for, it's not that much. Now, let me get more detail for you. Let me blow your minds. Ready? Conversion coverage is the cheating way of getting additional coverage on your policy cheap. So it's even cheaper than adding additional coverage, okay? So let's just say you say, Brooke, all I can afford is $100,000. I'm going to tell you add conversion to that. What does that mean? That means that if somebody hits you with $25,000 of insurance, your insurance company without conversion, the $100,000, if you, let's say, right? So bear with me. You have 100, a person hits you with 25,000, regular policies. Your carrier is going to get a credit for the 25 you already got and only has to pay you out 75 more. If you have conversion coverage, your carrier has to pay you out the full policy that you have with them, the 100,000, okay? Conversion coverage is a very cheap way. Most attorneys in Connecticut don't even get it because it's not a big thing here, but you can get it. So get it and then hire a lawyer that gets it, because you don't want to be teaching your lawyer my videos and you don't want me calling your lawyer teaching them about conversion coverage, right? Just hire a lawyer from the get-go that knows conversion coverage. It is definitely a cheap way, I'm telling you, to get additional coverage. This isn't creaming very well. To get additional coverage for your case and to get it at as low of a cost as possible. Now, here's the deal. I always recommend you get as much coverage as possible, then add conversion. Well, why? Because let me tell you where it really makes sense. Let's say you have a $250,000 policy and you add conversion. And I'm telling you, it's cheap. Everybody that watches this needs to get on the phone. Don't be lazy. Get on the phone with your carrier and just say, how much would it be if I added conversion? That's the only question. If you had a 250 policy and somebody else had 100, well, guess what? You can get 100 and then 250 instead of getting that credit for 100. And it's so cheap. Again, if you're somebody that that's concerned about cost of the coverage, you definitely want to take my word for it, okay? And you want to get the additional coverage through your conversion. I'm going to say it again and say it again. Most people don't know what conversion is. Call your carrier, Geico, Nationwide, I'll say Progressive, whoever it is, and say, I want to add conversion. How much would it be? And then you're going to like fall out of your chair when you realize how cheap it is and how much more coverage. It protects you. Let's stop worrying about everybody else for a minute. I mean, that still protects you if you're getting in an accident, you don't have enough coverage. But let's stop worrying about everybody else. Stop like being moms all over the place, right? And let's really start worrying about ourselves. And worrying about yourself is adding conversion to your policy. All right, so I'm creaming. Okay. You can add it on today. Yes. See? You can add coverage immediately. You can call your carrier right after I get off don't miss any of my segment, but after my segment, you can get on and you can call your carrier. I'm telling you, they're open about 24 hours. As if they hear it's sales and they're going to get money, they're open 24 hours. If you actually have a problem though, they make you wait 9 to 5, right? That's how it works with insurance companies. So get on the phone with these people and tell them you want conversion and tell them today. I'm telling you, so since I started doing these segments in October, I'd only seen 2 conversion policies ever in my history of doing this, ever, in Connecticut. Since I've started doing this segment, we are seeing 3 or 4 a month. So like literally, people are watching it and then people are getting in accidents, because I'm going to tell you all, the chances are you're going to get in an accident, you're going to need a lawyer, and they're adding conversion, and we're able to get them the additional coverage. We love it, and we know what to look for. You really want a firm that gets conversion, because if your law firm does not know conversion, you can be screwed. They'll think, oh, okay. And the insurance is going to tell you. So if you have a 100K policy with conversion, the attorney's going to, if they don't understand conversion and there was 25K policy, they're going to demand 75. And the insurance company's going to be like, oh, I can save 25 grand. This is great. Don't do it. I'm telling you, hire a lawyer that gets it. Okay. All right. So we're going to add some eggs, and then I'm going to keep talking about that. You have 4 eggs. Jesus. Beat them in one at a time. 1, I'm not thrilled with the setup of the creaming of the butter and stuff, but I'm going to live with it. It's just taking a little longer. I think it's the temp of my butter. Is this Whole Foods butter? That's why. So here's a secret you all might not know. I know, all of you out there, bakers out there, are going to be like, it's all the same. It's actually not. Whole Foods butter, for whatever reason, does not melt the same room temperature, soften, I should say, as all the other butters. I don't know why. And it's not the fat content, probably the lack of, right? The whole paycheck is like crunchy granola. So, I mean, you know, nobody wants the calories. But I mean, guys, if you're going to eat a stick of butter, it's butter, right? I'm telling you, I've always had this issue with their butter. I don't know why, but it does not room temp the same. I recommend you go with, you know what I love for butter? This is going to sound crazy. The cheapest butter in the store you can find. And the most ratchet butter is the butter you want because it melts the right way, it softens the right way, it does all the stuff that you want it to do. All right, 2 egg, 3 egg. See my one hand action? It's pretty good, right? And then, oh, that stuff smells. I'm telling you, the breadcrumbs and the butter are so strange. But it looks delicious. Wait until you see the finished product. So, I mean, I'm going to eat it. But. All right, so we beat in our eggs one at a time. Now we need to fold in the other ingredients. Okay, guys? So we'll talk about that. So let's let this action go down. So conversion. I was on NBC Live earlier, and the host had asked me, because Taylor was out, so there's another host in place, and she asked me, what would you recommend, right? That ways that people can protect themselves under their insurance policies. What other coverages can they add? Who says it? What is the other coverage you can add that I always advocate for to protect yourself? What is it? What's it called? Tell me and Kylie, what are they going to win? Mug? What? No, what do you get? Apron? Oh, that's a good one. Sorry, guys. I'm just switching around my mic. Hold on.
While you're waiting for an answer for that, we have a question.
Sure.
It says, what about if you have an old car, a classic, an 87, and you only drive it like 6 months a year? Should you also add it to that car?
It's about coverage for you. A 1955 beater car with bald wheels that's worth $100 can get into an accident with somebody that's speeding, and it's about your coverage. It's not about the car. So that's a great question. You're referencing somehow that the car is somehow affiliated to the kind of coverage I recommend you take. No. The only thing about the cars that I recommend is collision. But do I think you should have collision on that car? Depending on the value, but you're gonna pay a fortune. No. But as far as coverage goes, this goes if you drive a beater 1992 Honda Prelude. I had that car, I loved it. No, 1986 I loved it. No problem. It's actually my favorite car. I drive a Tesla now. My 86 Prelude was still my favorite. My first car. I still am gonna tell you, buy up as much insurance as possible, add your conversion. If you have state minimum, add your conversion. Okay, just add the conversion coverage, guys, okay? Really, add it. Because then if somebody hits you with $25,000 of coverage and you have conversion, guess how much you get to get? An extra $25. Because you have conversion and instead of them getting a credit for whatever you collected, it adds to it. It's a beautiful thing, cheap way to do it. All right, so who said my answer?
Chris Ann said medical.
Yeah, who is it? Julie Cardoza. Okay, you're going to get an apron. Is that right? Hold on, what is it? Okay, so Julie, it looks like you've won an apron, so we're going to give you something else, okay? But Julie won it. It's MedPay coverage. This is how, guys, I'm telling you, MedPay coverage is where it's at. It is a cheap way of medical coverage. It's going to give you access to physicians. If you have Husky insurance or a high deductible plan, a lot of physicians aren't going to play ball with you. Even if you have a lawyer and you have a letter of protection, right? There's still bills that have to be paid, okay? A MedPay policy steps in the shoes and says, look, we're going to pay dollar by dollar your medical bills until we exhaust our coverage. The minimum I'd say you should get is $5,000. You can get $10,000. Another super cheap way. So if you have a $12,000 deductible, which a lot of people still unfortunately have after COVID, right? Your MedPay is going to step in and just pay most of it. Win-win for you. Or if you have Husky that doesn't really pay for anything, and you have doctors that are out of network with Husky, because the really good doctors, guys, I'm sorry, that will see you within like 8 weeks, not in a hospital setting, don't take Husky. It's just, I'm sorry, it's the way it is, because the pay schedule is so low. Guess what? Now you get access to them through MedPay because they'll deal, but you're definitely going to want a lawyer with MedPay because your lawyer's going to help you get the providers to understand MedPay, get the proper forms out. You have only a certain period of time to insert your bills. It's typically a year in Connecticut. So if you incur bills over time and you have MedPay, you only have a year to submit them. If you don't, you could lose your coverage, okay? Well, lose the ability to collect your coverage. Now, I'm going to keep talking about that, but now I have to fold in ingredients. This is getting much better. It's just, it makes you work so much harder. We're in Whole Foods, man. It makes you work so much harder. I'm sorry, I'm not hating on them. I love the place, actually. Honestly, I go there for like everything. They have these amazing green olives I'm obsessed with. Hold on, what are they called? What are these bad boys called? Where are they? Here they are. Castelvetrano olives. They are the best green olive you could ever buy. I recommend everybody try them, but they have them in their little deli section. You know, I love Whole Foods for everything except their butter. So I'm not hating on Whole Foods. I love them. So don't like throw me like some shade on Twitter or wherever you are. No need to. Amazon, your partner company, I order all my office supplies through, so we don't need to hear about that either. So anyways, don't hate on me. Whole Foods, your butter just needs to melt better. All right, we're going to fold in the dry ingredients. So just dump it in. And then folding in means taking your spatula and literally folding in. And don't use your blender for this because they're looking for a certain consistency and you won't get it. And that's not good. You fold like a shirt, kind of. Okay, kind of. That's not how you fold your shirt, Kylie? It's kind of how I fold my shirts. All right, so now, and then you're going to then add the milk, okay? You're supposed to do it alternatively with milk, but nobody has time for that action. So we're just gonna do it. And then we're going to fold it all together. It's not going to make a difference at the end of the day, guys. Any bakers on here will tell you the same thing. It's not. You're like sometimes, guys, following the recipes, I swear, just people want to like fill in space with the actual cookbooks and stuff. But I'm telling you, if you have there's not too much dry ingredient here or milk, you can just add them together, then fold them in. Okay. You don't want to overmix either, by the way. All right. Then we are going to stir in the lemon rind, but we're not done folding yet. It's like a workout and a half. That's fine too. What's that? Oh, I will in a second. Hold on. Okay. So here we are. It's very cakey now. It's not how it started off, trust me. No thanks to my butter, but we all know. I've already made myself clear on that. But you see, it's like a little cake, like cupcakes actually is what it reminds me of when you put them in the little holders. All right, so then what you're gonna do is you're gonna stir in the lemon rind. Who doesn't love lemon rind? I love it. Get all of it. Stir it all in. So stirring means circular, just FYI. I'm sure most of you know that, but folding does not. Folding is typically perpendicular like this. So. Little nerding out in the kitchen is fine. Okay. So we folded all that in and then we stirred it. Now we're going to take the batter and we're going to smooth the top of the batter. So you're going to pour the batter into the pan with the breadcrumbs and the butter. I know. And then you're going to kind of try to flatten the top. There we go. These recipes with the bundt pans are always so sticky. It's like so hard to get it all out. What happened to just a good old chocolate chip cookie? Is that awful? Is that awful? You guys are like killing me with some of these recipes. This is great though. I'm telling you, the finished product's unbelievable. It looks like something that would be in like the window of like a really fancy bakery. Okay, so we're gonna keep doing that, then we're going to flatten it all out. So it's my swag, but I'm going to talk trash about it. These spatulas are not hard enough. They're too soft. We need new spatulas. These poor people that I've sent these spatulas to probably have like tennis elbow or something. It's like awful. Carpal tunnel. All right. All right. That's... I think one more little thing. So far we've talked about, right, MedPay coverage, and we've talked about our underinsured, uninsured motorist coverage being, I'm just flattening the top, being supplemented with conversion. We're all going to call our carriers tonight, right, and request that. So when you get in an accident, you call my office. The key, guys, the main key here, though, I got to be honest, and I say this not in a biased way, half the battle with your case is hiring the right lawyer. It's the truth. You could do all the right things, but if your lawyer doesn't get it, if it's your mother's brother's uncle, sister's cousin's father's sister, and you just know them from affiliation, which who wants the family drama? I don't know. But if that's what it is and they really don't know what they're doing, you're really, really barking up the wrong tree and you're really going to get screwed. So, you know, it's your life. This is not like, you know, a small claims action for $500. This is not, you know, somebody didn't fix your car right. This is your health. This is your life. This is your livelihood. So I recommend when you get an attorney, you get somebody that gets it, because I'm going to tell you all I want to get conversion, but if your lawyer doesn't get it, or if they don't do personal injury all the time, every day, in bed with the law books, the whole thing, they're not going to get it. You're not going to get the best result. Okay? So other than MedPay and underinsured, uninsured motorists, we talked about liability coverage. You're going to get as much as you can afford. It basically, look at what your assets are and make sure you're protected. So if you own $300,000 in assets, you need $300,000 of coverage, because I'm telling you, if the client comes in and you hurt them, I'm going to try to attach your property in the event that you don't have enough coverage. So cover yourself. The best thing you can have is me as your lawyer. The worst thing you can have is me as the other person's lawyer, right? The other piece is collision. So guys, this is like a hairy subject. If your car has value that to you, like that's worth an amount that you couldn't come out of pocket to pay, then you should have collision. But you also don't want to outspend it. If you have a 2006 Saturn Ion thing, if they made them back then, your car's worth $2,500. Is it really worth collision? Probably not. Probably not. And your carrier will probably tell you that, but they're happy to take your money too. So I always recommend low deductibles, and if the car's worth more than $6,000, get the collision coverage. Collision is going to help you in the event that you're at fault for the accident, and you know, obviously you need to fix your car if the other person's at fault for the accident and they have no insurance. If you don't have collision coverage and somebody else hits you and causes the accident, you're screwed. That's it. So that's collision. I always recommend you just lower the deductible. I'd rather see you get the collision coverage with a higher deductible than not have any collision coverage because you can't afford the low deductible. Okay, so that's key. Here's what our cake looks like here. Now what we're going to do, this bakes for 1¼ hours or until the cake tests are done. You're then going to invert the cake. So you're going to flip it, in other words, on a rack, and then we have a glaze here, okay? We have a lemon. We have 1/3 cup of lemon juice, 3/4 cup of sugar. So we're gonna take the glaze, we're gonna put it over it, and then it's gonna absorb it all, and then it's gonna soak it in. And then this is your, look how beautiful this is. This is a perfect one for conversion coverage, because people are gonna be like, lemon cake, conversion, they all go together, right? They're gonna be like, this is like the next big thing. Every time anybody wants to talk about their conversion coverage, they're gonna make lemon cake. It's great. I should always keep lemon cake in the office so I can congratulate people when they listen to my videos and get conversion coverage. And these people all in here, guys, want some of this cake. Look at this thing. It's great. And can you hear this? It's like hard and crunchy. Can you hear that? Yeah, you can hear that, right? Unbelievable. And that's the sugar. And that's because of those nasty, stinky breadcrumbs that are gonna taste amazing, because now it smells like lemon and it tastes great. Okay? So again, you can hear it. Guys, I think the segment was awesome. We had no interruptions. How many people were watching? Quite a few, it seems. And you guys were interacting. That's key. So next week, I was going to move it, but I'm not, because I can't let my people down. But the Super Mario movie's coming out next week, and I have a 10-year-old, so I'm taking him Thursday. So I'll be here next week. We'll be here at 5:45, and do we know what we're making yet next week? We haven't picked a winner yet. We're gonna make something a little more like chocolate chip cookie-y, I think. We can give me a break 1 week, maybe? Okay. Why? Because I would like a chocolate chip cookie with some milk, but that's only my, issue. So guys, tune in next week. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet. I've tried to make it based on what's going on. I might do motorcycle accidents next week because 'tis the season and the weather's gonna be in the 60s, I think, next week, and 70, one of the days. If you have any questions about coverage, if you want us to honestly look at your policy to even see if you have conversion, send it to us. I'll tell you if it says conversion on your policy, or I'm going to send you back to your agent. But if you have an agent, guys, just call your agent. Your agent will tell you if you have conversion. Get it in writing. So in the event they tell you have conversion and you don't, and you come in my office and I have to tell you, now you have an issue with your agent and you can deal with that separately. But add the conversion, add the MedPay. So cheap, and it's going to potentially either pay you tens of thousands of more dollars or save you thousands of dollars with the MedPay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We did lots of awesome stuff. We have new billboards going up. I think next week is the new billboard campaign. Can you all guess what it is? You probably can. I do the same one every year around this time. It's super fun. We have a huge giveaway we're going to be announcing soon. We have all kinds of awesome stuff happening at Goff Law Group. So keep tuning in. Watch us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Watch our videos. Hit us up on online if you have any questions. Watch our commercials. And obviously, if you have questions about your personal injury case, our consultations are free, 24/7. There's a lawyer. It's with my office, and we're happy to help you. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your night.